Hey, you, friends, family, and strangers. What a beautiful day to seek out many answers that I have to many questions. I'll be hitting up my realtor. I'll be hitting up the title office that's handling the sale of my house, in theory. And I'll be hitting up my lease office at what could be my new apartment. I'm going to try hard today to speak in facts rather than speak in predictions, because that just creates a big old interesting mess, doesn't it? It's time to enjoy a cup of coffee here at my motel. As it stands right now, I have just 4 more nights here at my motel. And let me go ahead and speak in predictions real quick. There's probably a 50-50 chance I will either go back to my house after this stay for at least 2 or 3 days. There's also a 50-50 chance that I will sit in my van and curl up and relax at night somewhere here closer to where I'm at and where I'm going to hopefully be with the new apartment. There's also a 50-50 chance that I will go ahead and get an alternative hotel room somewhere else. There's also a 1 in 10 billion chance that I will add 3 more nights to this depressing motel room. But anyways, with all that said, I'm going to attempt to throw some fun stuff in there along the way as today goes along. But mostly, what I think I'll be doing is chillaxing here at my temporary workstation in the motel and trying to bang out some answers to some of these questions. I'm actually going to read you a text conversation that my realtor and I have been having, because I want to get your opinion on if I should not be so grumpy with the vagueness or the lack of direct answering, direct questions, stuff like that, you know? And I'm going to try to call the title office today and ask them a few questions. And yeah, as you know, I've been on a real estate journey, to say the least. There's been so many ups, so many downs, but never has the train went all the way around. Not yet. So I'm waiting for that to happen. But when it does, when it comes back into the station, I'm hoping it goes right up into my new apartment. But as you saw yesterday, there's a chance it could just be going right back to my house, which will suck. But I'll make the very best of it. It'll be a good place to set up camp again, reassess my budget. Also want to figure out a home-based spot to get all my tax documents gathered up, because I still have to file my taxes for last year. Isn't that exciting? And most of all, I'm looking forward to a home base either at the house or the apartment or even my van, where I can plan stuff to do with you. Kind of like we tried to do about a month ago there for a few days and went around, seen some stuff. I personally would really like to get back to business as usual, but that's going to take at least another 6 days from now. Then after that, I guess we'll have an all new set of content to enjoy, me and you, right here on Dougalo Nation. So, with all that said, let's see what we can kick up today. Gather your things, and let's do it.
You're a loser.
So as you know, my apartment is only going to be held for me until April 10th. I don't want to, after that, search for a new place and hope I get approved with my shoddy credit with my recent lease breaking escapades, I'm approved and I'm in so far at the apartment that I already got, but my apartment's being held for me until the 10th. And if I didn't already tell you, or if you're kind of walking into the narrative today for the first time and you're not sure what I'm talking about, because I'm attached to that mortgage still, the new apartment wants me to pay everything up front. Cheers. Which I can do if my house sells. Kind of weird though, because once it does sell, I can then become income verified and I won't be attached to that mortgage anymore and can probably pay the old-fashioned way month to month. However, I want to do exactly what was suggested the first time around, which is pay for the whole thing up front, because in June there's going to be a large gap in my employment. Not that I will be unemployed, I'll just be unscheduled to work. And I'd like to pursue with that. I'd like to enjoy the month of June without work. I'd like to enjoy a temporary retirement in June. So I want to try to make that work to where I don't have to worry about the apartment at all for the whole year, stuff like that. These are things I want. Okay? So, as you know from yesterday's video, most likely, I was pondering some things at work, and I went ahead and sent my realtor this text, and I thought of a way to make it as easy, clear to understand as I could, because when I text my realtor, he has this tendency to respond with things that he was not asked and to avoid direct questions. I personally don't believe this is done on purpose. I think he kind of sees a narrative in his head a certain way. He knows what's going on, however, may not be used to someone else who doesn't know what's going on and would like to know more details and more explanation. I would like to be walked through this process. I would like the time and the effort put into me understanding and having the door wide open to answer any and all questions that I have. I sent him a text last night that said this: the 7th will be the last day for either me or the buyer to close on. If the deal doesn't finalize on or before that day, I'll lose my shot at the apartment and will most likely just move back into my house and take it off the market completely. You can keep the mower for your troubles in that case. Because my realtor wanted my lawnmower, my zero-turn, badass Cub Cadet lawnmower that I would spend all day Saturday mowing my fucking yard and getting grass into my ears and getting mosquito bites and having birds fly in my face. All of that happened, by the way, at different times. And will I miss the old place? Well, I'm starting to miss the place now, living here in the motel. If I can get me a nice apartment, will I miss the old place? Nah, not even in the slightest. So, his response, 12 hours later this morning, said, "They're doing a walkthrough tomorrow. How much do you need for the apartment?" I'm not going to discuss price. My realtor suggested a price for the previous buyer. That price left me with enough money to move forward from that deal and get my place to live and have some bounce back money afterward. Not much, not nearly as much as we originally thought. So I'm not going to answer questions about how much money I need, because I want my realtor to, no matter what, stick to the price we have set. Period. He has told me the buyer is offering less, and I went along with it. That was then, this is now. If the buyer offers less this time around, the answer is no. I'm moving back into my house. At least that's what I'm thinking at this moment. So, I responded with this. This is a calendar issue. I need the buyer to sign everything on or before the 7th. If and when they pay that amount, we are still predicting that I will walk with approximately that amount after it's all said and done, ? Is that still the numbers we are looking at? See, there's a perfect example of how I make a statement and then he talks about something else that no one's talking about. If you are not fully trusting of someone, that could be seen as a possible deflection, or as a lot of people call shady business. And I don't know why you're asking me how much I need for the apartment. Are we having a friendly conversation? I'm paranoid this deal is not going to work. I'm full on prepared to go back to the house and lose my apartment. I really hope that's not the case. My first option right now, my first pick, is to get my damn apartment and resume my life here in 6 days. That sounds very nice. But to resume my life back at the house, that'll be nice too, because at least I can resume my life. I am so beyond over living in this motel or going to the idea of, I want to do trips and overnights in my van 100%, but I want to do it my way. I want to film and make content about van conversion, camper setups in my van. I want to enjoy it. I don't want it to be stuck out in a public parking lot if something were to happen and I get ran out of there. I want to do that experience, but I want to make sure I have a place to go in case. I also want to do campgrounds and things like that and take my van camper machine, Mega, Clifford, robot machine, out and do fun things all over the place. Further and farther out is the content I want to do to some degree. But in my opinion, hotel content where you travel and look at different hotels is great content as well. And I love filming that as well. So I'm not going to talk to my realtor about how much I need for the apartment. I said this is a calendar issue. I need the buyer to sign everything on or before the 7th, if and when they pay that amount. We are still predicting I will walk with approximately that amount after it's all said and done. Is that still the case? Is that still the numbers we're looking at? He simply said yes. And that's because you have to hone him in and get him to focus on one question at a time. Just talking how you feel and saying a couple different things at once gets you a vague answer with this friend of mine. And I asked, what's the name of the title company? What's their address? I believe this information should have been made known to me 2 days ago when they got the contract, or when the contract was being sent to them, or however it works. But I shouldn't have to know in advance how it works to be included in on the details. And he said the same one as last time. And I said, thanks. Then he wants me to know the title is working on updating the documents for the new buyer. I'm not even going to ask him the questions I have based off that text, which says title is working on updating the documents to the new buyer. Okay, I have some questions from that text message, but I don't believe asking him will help me as effectively. I think it'll actually take up more time. So I'm going to pose those questions to the title office when I contact them today. I need to sign. Do I need to sign everything, or did I already sign everything? If you're updating the documents for the new buyer, does that mean you're just regenerating the buyer's name and the date? I don't think you can do that, but if that's how it's going to be done, then it's even twice more important then in that case that I let them know the 7th and only the 7th this is going to happen. I am done dealing with this potential sale of this property past April 7th. And the fact that they're doing their very first walkthrough tomorrow, they could back out. And if they do, I'm moving right back into my house and resuming my life, and we'll go from there. We'll probably apply for apartments from there and get me in, and then the stress, the timeline of selling the house will no longer be an issue. And yes, I will most likely enlist the help of a different realtor. So I said, wasn't the original date the 4th on the documents? That's something I need to ask them. So what are we changing here? Do I need to re-sign? And can I sign everything early? Today, tomorrow, perhaps? probably schedule that for tomorrow, because today we're doing a lot of phone calls and asking questions and writing down a lot of answers, hopefully. I need to express to the title office that there is a closing deadline. I do not want the buyer to have the option in any way, shape, or form to sign the documents after the 7th, period. And you may be rolling your eyes because you know that couldn't be the case. The document either says the 7th or it doesn't, and that's it. No title office would allow that to change, or would just contact the realtor and say, is that cool? And the realtor be like, yeah, go with it. Or maybe they do. I don't know, so I have to ask. The contract says that the closing date is, I want to hear them say it, and I want to write it down in my handy dandy little notebook. Contract closing date for the seller will also be what? What mandatory date? I want them to say the 7th. That's for me. The buyer, same question. What is the contract closing date for the buyer? Meaning, what is the last possible day that the potential new buyer can sign the papers? And if they say, well, anytime we're open, as long as we get it done, cancel the whole motherfucker. I'll have my real estate agent issue a letter of termination right now. Because this is a calendar issue, like I said, with my apartment, with my new pad. I need this shit done. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of one being conditional on the other. I just can't handle it. You might be able to do that. You might have loved it when you did that. When you switched around real estate shit. I'm not you. And I'm not anybody else who doesn't get what I'm going through. I'm just me. And I'm tired of one being conditional on the other. I'm tired of waiting to see what happens if this guy comes through. What the hell do you want with your walkthrough? Is that good or bad? Who the hell knows? Who the hell cares anymore? Can I sign early? I would like to go in tomorrow and sign everything on my end early. Or perhaps with this new bit of information, title is working on updating the documents for the new buyer. Does that mean they're keeping my signature in place? Don't I have to sign for that little permission slip? Pretty sure. The date on those documents is done. New documents will need to be re-signed by me as well, right? Can the buyer close after the 7th? I need them to tell me no. If not, I need to have a full conversation with them. This is a calendar issue. I do not have any option for this deal to finalize on or after the 8th, the 9th. No, no, no. It's either on or before the 7th. Period. Preferably ASAF&P. The 7th is in 6 days. My apartment is being held for me 9 more days. I do not want to toe the line in any way, shape, or form because I'm just done with that stress, skin of your teeth experience. I'm just done. I'm not sure who's going to come through at the last minute and all that stuff. Officially done with that. With that lifestyle. I'm done with it being that hard of a gangster when it comes to that. After both parties sign, how long does the wire transfer take place? That's a big thing. The reason I need it done on or before the 7th, because I don't know. My realtor says it's same day. That's all he said. He's not walking a first-time seller through any other information. How the fuck does that work? How do you know that? Have you experienced that? I want the title office to tell me that. Sorry, but that's just where I'm at. Because I need it to happen on or before the 9th, as far as the money showing up in my account. I would like reassurance of that. I don't think that's too much to ask. And the reason I'm pissy is because my realtor is very vague. A lot of times he'll answer questions that were not asked and avoid direct questions that were asked. And it just adds to my stress experience. I want to know, does a wire transfer show up in my account on the same day? Yay or nay? If so, what are we looking at? 1 day out, 2 days out max? I can do that. And the reason why I set a hard line on 7 is just in case. Just in case I need that hard line to be set. If the buyer doesn't sign on or before the 7th, will the deal terminate? I need them to tell me yes. I feel like I'm conducting a deposition here prior to a big lawsuit in court. I'm not saying that I'm going to do that. I'm just saying the way I've worded these questions makes me feel like I'm watching Joe Exotic get grilled about Carol Baskins. This I did learn. Title company's name and their address is the one that I have to pull up from my previous records. Luckily, the title company is the same as last time, so I know how to get there-ish. I certainly know how much time it's going to take. I signed early with that company, so hopefully I can do that again, tomorrow preferably. That way that part of my involvement is done, and I can encourage, if they do their walkthrough and they still want the place, then I can encourage them to get in there and sign as soon as they can. So I can get my money as soon as I can. So I can get my apartment as soon as I can. So I can resume my life as soon as I can. What a great title to the video. Seeking answers as soon as I can. Go ahead and write that down. First thing I'm going to do, the first call I'm going to make today is to my new apartment. I need a new lease generated, and I'm going to ask her to please date it for the 9th this time. I'm moving my move-in date back, just like my seller has been moving their closing date back. But keep in mind, friends, before you make such a phone call, you should check your email to verify sweetly and neatly that what am I trying to say? That the question was not already answered via your email, basically. Does that make sense? Because you might be asking something that they just got done taking care of via the email 2 seconds ago. Okay, for the first time in history, no one answered the phone at the apartment. So for now, let's try asking some questions to the wee old title office. Okay, just got off the phone with the helpful, informative, fine folks at the title office. But the contract is not created yet. The contract is in a state where it is getting details put in place, like my updated closing amount on my, or should I say the payoff amount on my loan for my mortgage, blah, 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 stuff like that. I need that contract to be dated for the 7th, as I've indicated. But they don't even know that yet. So that's reassuring. So I basically have to call back tomorrow and try all these questions again. I'm also going to try. There's also a chance everything will be finalized by the end of the day, so I'll probably call again today at like, I don't know, 3 or 4 in the afternoon before I have to leave for work. So the friendly lady told me that pretty much the way it normally will go and the way it most likely will go with me, because this is a home flipping outfit, it'll be a cash transaction, so everything should go quicker, blah, blah, blah. The biggest thing that I need to stipulate, I need to make contact with them again, and my realtor, I guess, as well, to indicate that I do not want any form of extensions allowed. No extensions allowed. I'm going to text my realtor right now and tell him that. It cracks me up because my realtor's tone has completely changed. I don't know if I should be laughing, but it's an odd story. So, I am moments from sending this email. Actually, I will right now, and then I'll read you what it says. Boomski. He didn't even know that I knew this chick's information, because I told him I'm letting her know as well. The subject reads, where was it? Please attach this request concerning an upcoming closing. They also told me if there was any kind of extension that I would have to sign for that agreement, which makes perfect sense. I get that. But it wasn't even made clear to me what the actual date that was going to be submitted. He just says things like, we're shooting for this date. I want to know exactly what you're submitting to the title office. Exactly. I shouldn't have to go over your head. But that's okay. Everyone works differently, and he probably thought I was a lot more on board and in the know than I was. That's me trying to make excuses for him, I guess. I don't know. But I wrote her at the title office and said, please do not, I said her name, then, please do not entertain any form of date extension on the closing at my address. I, the seller, wish to close on or before April 7th. As clear as fucking day. 0 exceptions. The closing date on contract should be April 7th, 2025. Please notify me if this is not the case in any way, shape, or form. I request the contract to expire and terminate if both parties have not signed on or before April 7th. I'm trying to repeat this in this email. I want it to be as clear as possibly clear can be for the jury and the judge. Please make note of this and communicate it with all persons involved. Much appreciated. Thanks. And then I give my name, and then I say again beside my name, quote, or rather, parenthetically, I'm the seller. I just say my name, seller. There's my number and email address. I shouldn't have to spill this out. This very clear expression of my intention should have been made known to me. I shouldn't have to make it known to them. I expressed this to my agent. He told me, well, we're shooting for this date. Once again, I agreed to it, but that's it. That's why I sent him the text last night. I am not budging past this point. Can't do it anymore. I want to get my place. I want to resume my life. I don't want it to be up in the air, and that's my fault. And I know that. No one's denying that in any way, shape, or form, and I'm catching shit for denying it, but in real life, I've never denied it. I know that. I chose to make my business a part of the story here. But also, I never once said it wasn't my fault. I'm the first one to say it was my fault. That's why I'm doing this extra work to clear this crap up, because I put too much on my plate. I will be more than happy to fully, completely secure my new housing before I even entertain the thought of getting rid of my current housing. That's what I learned. That's what I'm doing next time, okay? Sorry. Bear with me. I'm a man-child stuck in a grown body. So, as far as the conversation with my realtor pertaining to that, this morning I wrote, last night I wrote, I'll run through this again quickly. Last night I wrote, the 7th will be the last day for either me or the buyer to close on. If the deal doesn't finalize on or before that day, I will lose my shot at the apartment and will most likely just move back into my house and take it off the market completely. Here's the thing. If this doesn't work out, which I got a bad feeling it won't for some reason, hopefully that's just me being paranoid. I really hope it's just me being paranoid because I want it to work. I don't want him to come back with, oh, I got a new guy and we're going to try this date. Or this current guy is going to push it back to the 9th or the 11th. No. Been there, done that. I'm cool with that if I had a place to live, but I don't. I'm staying at a fucking motel, and I hate it. Okay? So that's why I'm trying to make this very clear to anybody I can who might even be close to associated with this closing. Let the buyer know. All you people, please let the buyer know. Get this done on or before the 7th so I don't have to worry about it no more. But I also told him the information about if that doesn't happen, I'm moving back into my house. You can keep my lawnmower, and I am taking my house off the market in all ways, shapes, and forms. Because I don't want him to say, hey, I got a new guy who asked me about the house. Or, hey, this guy, he can't do the 7th, but he's good for the 9th. Or good for the 8th. No, we're done. The apartment is not going to tolerate me pushing it back again and again, and I'm not paying for this room again and again and again. And look, hopefully it's all good, and I'm the only one worrying. The buyer and the title office and my realtor, they're all like, everything's fine, and we're good to go. It will happen. Hopefully that's how they feel. But I'm not really I'm not really apprised of these details, so I have to worry on my end, I guess. But when I took his word before, the deal fell through. So, and this new buyer hadn't even seen the place yet. They were doing a walkthrough tomorrow. So, of course, after tomorrow, I'm going to be asking, did he like the property? He or she, whoever it is. It's a flipping company. It's a home buyers will flip your shit company, even if your house is a blower-upper. You can keep the mower for your troubles in that case. He responded with that. They're doing a walkthrough tomorrow. How much did you need for the apartment? We're not talking about how much I need for the apartment. Because you told me what I would walk with. I made plans based on that information. Why are you trying to reassess how much money I need? That would only tell me that you may wish to reassess what the house may sell for. We're not going there. And I've read the purchase contract as it stands right now that I signed for the amount. I should have stipulated that in this email. And by the way, the contract needs to say for this amount of money. That part I'm assuming is good. I said, this is a calendar issue. I need the buyer to sign everything on or before the 7th. If and when they pay that full amount, if and when they pay blank, we are still predicting I will walk with approximately blank after it's all said and done. ? Is that still the numbers we are looking at? He texts back the word yes. What is the title company? What is the title company who has the contract? And what is their address? And he sent me a response that said the same as the one before. The same one you went to last time. I should have been known that instantaneously. That should have been, if I was your realtor and that happened, I would have told you the split second that I knew. By the way, I submitted the contract for closing. The title office is the same one as before, same office and everything, okay? Just so you know. And I set the date for what we requested. The buyer's on board with that. I'm going to let you know as soon as they confirm that they're conducting the closing on that date as well. And email me, text me, preferably text or call at any time, day or night, with any possible question you have. So I just said thanks. Then he said, title is working on updating the documents to the new buyer. So I asked the lady on the phone, what does that mean? We're not just transferring over my signature, right? And I have to ask because I'm a first-time buyer. I think it's okay to ask. Wouldn't you rather know than wonder? And you know how my brain is. I will think of all possible questions instantaneously after hearing a bit of information, especially if it's vague. Okay? Because my question to almost everything is, what does that mean? Explain to me what that means. Even if I think I know what you mean, why chance it? Tell me exactly what you're doing, exactly what your intentions are, exactly what that means on paper, so everyone knows. Because I don't want to go through more talking about this after the 7th. I want everything done, either for good, bad, or ugly. Done. I don't want another offer. I don't want to do this again. My house is either selling or selling back to me on the 7th. Period. And I need to get back to making mortgage payments if that's the case, because your boy's behind. Because your boy's trying to get this done. Let the sale of the property cover up any delinquency. The mortgage payment's 2 months behind, and on the 17th will officially become 3 months behind. That's when they start issuing demand letters, and they want to like touch me in places that you know what I mean? I'm not really into that all the way. So I asked them what that meant, and they said, well, everything will be the same except for your new signature is going to be needed. The dates will be adjusted, and the name of the buyer, of course. So I don't know why it was worded to me in a text that they're updating documents. So I told him, thank you. Also, this is the one I turned the camera on for. You ready? Please do not entertain any form of extension if such a request is made. The closing must take place on or before the 7th. I will be emailing blank at blank with that desire as well, so everyone knows. Please make a note of this. Please make a note of this just in case. Much appreciated. The way I see it, you've strung me along. You've told me what's going on, ignored my schedule at times, set up things that never happened and did not tell me about it, or told me things were going to happen, whether or not they actually were, one of the two. I stayed up all night clearing my house out, getting it ready for some showing that never took place. You remember that episode. So I don't care if this guy's feelings get hurt. I gave him a fucking free lawnmower for this bullshit. Take it. Let's shake hands. And if you ever see me again, give a wave. But we're good, my friend. We're good. His response was I will be emailing them that. We'll go through this again word by word, and I'll take exactly what he responded and exactly what I responded. Please do not entertain any form of extension if such a request is made. The closing must take place on or before the 7th. I will be emailing blank at blank with that desire as well, so everyone knows. And I think that's the part he didn't like. Please make a note of this just in case. Much appreciated. And he said, I have told them that. So I said, okay, thanks. Much appreciated. Which is my way of saying, next time, let me know what you told them. And again, I don't think that's too much to ask. Never once in history did I say, do anything you want, just let me know when the house sells, baby. I don't even know if I would be told when to show up to sign the papers if I wasn't proactive on my end. I'm just not convinced he would get around to making sure I know. And hopefully I'm just being too harsh. Hopefully I'm just overthinking. I hope. I'm hoping I have nothing to worry about at the end of the day. But I'm going to worry the shit out of it until this deal is done. Okay? Sorry, not sorry? Sorry, not sorry. Okay. I think that's it for this second. So I got to call the apartments now to see about generating a new lease for the 9th, just in case. Right outside my room, there's like a scraping noise. So I looked out the window, and it's just one of the staff sweeping the sidewalk. And my first thought was, thank God it's something normal out that door, out that window for a change. It's not a freaking fist fight. The cops ain't here. It's not people yelling at each other through their door instead of just opening it and talking and making sure everyone hears their conversation. Thank God. Can you hear? Can you hear? A little sweep going on. Thank God it's something normal. Let me tell you, staying here has been hell. Getting ready to call the lease manager again to try to get that new lease with the new date on it. But I checked my email just in case she beat me to it. And I got an email from H&R Block saying, dude, Broheem, there's only 2 weeks till tax day. And I literally yelled at my computer, working on it, trying to set up a home base so I can actually organize that shit and get the documents ready. It'd be kind of cool if I had a little bit of leftover money from the sale of this house if it ever takes place. I say that because they haven't even seen it yet, so we'll see. To go out and buy a freaking printer for this computer to get everything I need ready for my taxes. If you are excited to do your taxes because it represents a whole nother accomplishment, that's sad. But anyways, I got to keep that email fresh and on the tip so I don't forget. Oh yeah, let's call the lease manager now. See if they answer this time. No answer again. I think I'll just show up at the office. See who's in there. Or whatever. As much as I want to dig into this giant Jimmy John's sub that I just bought, I think I'll pop into the Wheel Apartments and see about when I can expect to get that lease. And ask her also if she would stipulate the lease for the 9th. See? It pays to be a shark in the water, to be an attacker, to show up in person if you're not getting your phone call answered. It pays to do that, to behave in such an aggressive, strong, big dick energy type of way, right? So I popped in there to the wee old lease department, and I said, just wanted to check in with you to see if we could go ahead and get that new lease generated. That's because that's the next thing we were waiting on. She said, yes, I am doing that, and I will do that very soon, no worries. And she had her desk filled with a bunch of leases with keys on each one, and I think she was in the thick of it. It is like the beginning of the month, so yeah. Anywho's here. Oh, I should have went that other way. Oh well. We're on board with that. She actually told me something kind of nice. She said, instead of holding it off until the 9th, just in case you're ready by the 8th, whenever you're ready, come on in and we'll do that. That doesn't mean my deadline is forever. My deadline is still the 10th with the apartment. So, and I said, look, on the 7th, I should be good. There should be a fat deposit in my hands on the 7th. At least that's how it looks. But I just want to let you know, the new buyer hasn't even looked at the property yet. They don't do that until tomorrow. So, why that's even a thing that exists, I don't know. When I go to sell property in the future, I think I'm going to say, no. Would you like to sign this purchase agreement? Not if they haven't even seen the place yet, no. Actually, I don't in that case. So, yeah. That's a thing going on right now, friends. So tomorrow, they're supposed to look at it, the new buyer. And I'll be chiming in about 1 or 2 o'clock. If I haven't heard from my realtor, I'd like to know what they thought. If there's any kind of vagueness on there with him on that, then I'll probably just contact the buyer directly, because the buyer is one of these flipping outfits. They have a website and an LLC and all that fun stuff. So, fuck them. Today's been a good example of just going in directly and getting the information for yourself. Has lowered my stress level quite a bit. So I will keep up that behavior. And what the hell else do I need to tell you about? I need to tell you about that we're going to go to the grocery store. I was going to buy like one of those $3 mega sodas. Okay, I probably still will do that, but I really should just be going to the grocery store for my yummies, for my lunchies.
But screw that noise. We don't even have a house yet. We don't even have an apartment yet. We're homeless on the streets, bumming around in shit motels, listening to asshole neighbors do their thing. Yeah. So my deadline has not been pushed back, however. We don't have to make it for one set day or the other. Just go ahead whenever you're ready to do it. As long as it can be done by the 10th or before, come in and let me know is what she said. So, to her, I am much appreciative. What a nice place to sit and avoid my motel and eat my Jimmy John's sub and just relax on this gorgeous day. I wish I didn't have to go to work today, but I'm actually glad I have to go to work today at the same time because I like being away from my motel. Isn't that sad? To live in a place that makes you want to be at work. And look at this. Do you see that Crown Royal bottle on the ground that some asinine piece of goober shit littered right there? I think I'll take that home. I think I'll keep that. I like that. It's kind of cool. It's a unique bottle. It's like a big glass, decorative, unique bottle. It's like a decoration. I can't even tell you how satisfying it is just to sit here alone with the nice weather. It's not hot. It's not cold. Enjoying my delicious sub, watching a little YouTube on the phone. Probably the most happy, relaxed, comfortable I've felt in month and a half. But can't shut you up. Back to resuming business as usual. Let's fire up the old pooter here. Check into the wee old email. What does it say? There's an email from the title company that says, click here to access your closing. Congratulations on the upcoming sale of your property. I look forward to being of service to you in finalizing your transaction. In order to ensure a flawless experience, we provide you with a secure website where you can get updates on the status of your closing, send secure messages to us and other parties, securely share and store closing documents, securely provide critical closing information. You will receive a request to confirm your closing information shortly. Please complete this request as soon as possible. If you have any questions, please send me a secure message through Qualia. I look forward to working with you. Important notices, never trust wiring instructions sent via email. Cybercriminals are hacking email accounts and sending emails with fake wiring instructions. These emails are convincing and sophisticated. Always independently confirm wiring instructions in person or via telephone call. I don't know if I would suggest that because there are sophisticated and convincing telephone calls from scammers as well. To a trusted and verified phone number. Have you ever heard of caller ID spoofing? Never wire money without double checking that the wiring instructions are correct. The information contained in this message is proprietary and or confidential. Proprietary and or confidential and may be privileged. If you are not the intended recipient of this communication, you are hereby on notice to delete the message and all copies. Do not disclose, distribute, or use the message in any manner and notify the sender immediately. So, I need to wait for we provide you with you will receive a request to confirm your closing information shortly. I will receive a request. That'll be fun, but in the meantime, I guess I'll click on this access your closing thing and see what happens, I guess. Well, there are two buyers on this, and they are two chick names. They appear to be women. Two women. That makes me feel like the deal will probably go through this time. I trust the intentions of women a lot more than I trust the intentions of these men who flip houses. Because so far, the guy I was dealing with before was shifty as shit. It says on here that right now, the current order of business is title processing. Your order is currently in title processing. This company has ordered the title commitment and closing protection letter from the title agency. This particular LLC title company is researching and analyzing historical property ownership information to make sure there are no title issues. This process usually takes a few days. Well, let's hope it takes one day in this case. But we have a few days. We have a few days. We have a few days. I should probably copy and paste the same email about no extension possible, the 7th and only the 7th. I don't like that on here it says estimated closing date. Little things like that drive me nuts because I just wanted to say confirmed closing deadline is what I wanted to say compared to what it does say, estimated closing date. No mas. So because it doesn't say that, confirmed closing deadline, and then it should say on or before, boom, then it should have the date. But the purchase price is correct. The estimated close date is not correct because it should not be an estimated date. Motherfucker. So I sent a email, as you know, to, let me find it here, to a chick who is not in the office right now, they said, but she's like the main overseer chick of it from the title office. I'm going to copy and paste that bad boy onto this online secure message portal to the other chick who's like the vice overseer. She's like the vice president overseeing my deal, and she is the one actively at work right now working. I'm going to send her a copy and paste of that same effing message. The one that says, please do not entertain any form of date extension on the closing of this property. And I give the address. I, the seller, wish to close on or before April 7th. 0 exceptions. The closing date on contract should be April 7th, 2025. Please notify me if this is not the case in any way, shape, or form. I request the contract to expire and terminate if both parties have not signed on or before April 7th. Please make note of this and communicate it with all persons involved. Much appreciated. Thanks. DC, the seller. If I worked at the title office, I would be asking the agent, why is your client blowing us up? Do you guys not talk? Does he not get your vague text or what? But I sent that to the vice president overseeing my case, my contract, and she just replied, received. Then she said, we are working to have everything updated in time for the closing at April 7th. For April 7th closing is what it says. So, and I understand that this entire video may have been for naught. I understand that tomorrow when they look at the property, they change their effing mind. I understand that they never show up to look at the property tomorrow. I understand that my realtor may never tell me one way or the fucking other whether or not they showed up to look at the property. I understand that this deal could be dead in the water just like last time. I understand that all these communications rounded up to a big fat sum of 0. However, there's a 50-50 shot that it could go off without a hitch this time around. The closing takes place, and the apartment keys end up in my hand as a result of that, as a result of the next thing. And as a result of that next thing, it could lead to me being up there. Dick just a-swinging off that 3rd-story balcony. Speaking of dicks a-swinging, how about we go ahead and step away from my office for the day and take us a shower and get ready to go bust our ass at work. I thought we'd go ahead, since we had a couple minutes to spare, and pop into the wee old storage unit. I don't really have a pressing reason to be at my storage unit right now, but I didn't want to waste a chance to stop by in case I saw something that reminded me of something I ought to be grabbing or ought to be doing. Here in about 4 days, I will leave that motel, and there is a 50-50 shot I'll either be going to a nice hotel that doesn't make me fill up with dread and doom, or possibly I will instead go back out to the house. So I went ahead and grabbed a water jug that I'm going to fill up here in a moment. I have my table, have my squatty shitter, and I have some camping less than mandatory things, like here's the cable box, and if I go back to the house and need the internet, all I have to do is plug those back in. Everything's in there, power plugs and all that. Backup flops, these can go in here. These can go in the old storage unit for now. Let's see, where should they go? Let's put them right there. That works. And yeah, man, it would be nice to look through my things again and throw some stuff out, sell some things like that, and what have you, and what nottings you. Will it happen? My friends, I just don't know. I mean, it will, but when is my next question. I do believe my rod, see that rod right there at an angle? That used to be straight with another hanger just like that. I wonder how on earth it would have just randomly fell down. Somehow it fell down. The only thing I can think of is if someone reached their hand across right there and popped my shit off. I doubt it, but you know. Anyways, I'm leaning 51% chance I'll go to a nicer room. And that'll be my very last ditch effort to acquire lodging prior to this very last possible closing date. If I do not or cannot close by that very last closing date here in about 6 days from now, then guess what? I'm done. I'm going back to my house. I'm done securing lodging for a while. I'm going to work on getting my mortgage paid up and caught up. I'll set up the smallest ever little temporary camp back at the house. I might move stuff in slowly over time, or I might keep all my crap in storage until I make my next move. But whatever my next move is, it is 100% going to entail me fully and completely securing my next housing situation before I even think of selling my property again. So, lesson learned. If all goes well, this closing will go off without a hitch in 6 days, as I've been saying over and over, but I guess sometimes it's nice to give a inventory of where we're at. Some people come in and out of these videos. They're not sure where we're at in the process For those of us who have been following along every single day, making Dougalo Nation a part of your daily routine, I thank you sincerely for doing that. Because, what do I always say? A growing audience helps me out more than you realize, all things considered. But anyway, let's get back on the road, head towards work, I guess, and go from there. Tomorrow is going to be an interesting day, I believe, because that is when the buyer is supposed to look at my house for the very first time and decide if they still want to be a part of the deal. And if for some reason that goes off the rails, then I will probably be done with everything. I don't think I'm going to chase this third potential buyer if they agree to do things by April 7th, which is still my timeline no matter what, still my deadline no matter what. If a third buyer wants to get something going prior, on or before April 7th, I don't think I'm screwing with that. This is the last chance. Hurrah. So the new buyer will be looking at my property tomorrow. If they don't like it and want to back out of the deal, then we will probably pack up our camp from the motel and head back to the house a little bit early. I'll still have the place for another 3 or 4 days, so I might pop into the motel and take a shower or whatnot. But if all goes well, then I will finalize everything with the title company, anticipating that closure to happen on the 7th of April here in 6 days. And then, like I said, it'll either happen and I'll finalize everything with the apartment and we'll have an all new chapter to start, or we'll tuck tail and go back to the house to set up the next chapter back at the house, which is kind of like a really stuck in Groundhog's Day type vibe, because I have tried to leave my house either half-heartedly or wholeheartedly now about 83 and a half times. So I guess we'll just have to try again if need be. What I forgot to tell you concerning tomorrow, I'm sure I mentioned it earlier anyways, but I was trying to think of it just now, and I was like, what is it I'm forgetting to say that we're doing tomorrow? Oh yeah, I'm going to try to get over to that title office tomorrow and sign all my papers a few days early, just like I did last time, even though I was actually there on time. I was just there early because the closing was set back. So being on time made me early because of that rescheduling, but I was only off work one day and needed it to happen on that day. Hopefully tomorrow that day can repeat and I can at least be done with my part of it, and hopefully it's not a wasted trip out there to do that, meaning when they do their walkthrough of the house, the buyer still wants the joint. And just like that, through the power of motherfucking movie magic, it is dark out. You skipped the last 9 hours of my life working hard for the man while trying to become the man. Believe it or not, the only thing I could think about at work tonight was, you guessed it, my house, my apartment, my fucking realtor, and the whole shebang bang. Tomorrow should be an interesting day. Apparently, if I hadn't already mentioned this 10,000 times, apparently the potential buyer, after having already made an offer, after already putting the house in contract, is going to actually see the house that they offered to purchase and placed into contract. So that'll happen, last I heard, around 8 in the morning. But with my realtor, that figure could be totally made up. They may have already seen the house for all I know, or they may not see the house until never, for all I know,
Because that little fact of information that tomorrow's supposed to be at 8 a.m. when they finally see the house they're saying that they're going to buy already, that little bit of information could very well be completely and totally made up. I have been led down the river by my realtor before a couple times. Would not be surprised in the slightest if tomorrow I text him around noon or 1 or 2 or so, whenever I feel like enough time has passed for him to get word back from the buyer, and I'll ask him, well, did they complete their walkthrough as you had said? And if so, are they moving forward with the deal? Did they like the house? Would they like to buy the property still? I would not be surprised in the slightest if the text I receive back says they didn't walk through today, or they didn't like it, or oh yeah, let me ask them, or I didn't hear anything about it. I don't know if that even happened. Basically, if I don't get the answer I'm supposed to get, a professional answer that says, yes, sorry about that, I was going to call you and let you know what they said, everything looks good, blah, blah, blah. Any other answer I get, I would not be surprised. And I'm really, 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 really hoping I'm just worrying for nothing. Obviously, that's the whole deal here. That would be nice. And earlier at work today, I was thinking, you know, I bet it'll be okay. I bet, you know, this wishy-washy potential buyer, I bet that was a one-time deal, one-off, I guess you'd call it. And I'm thinking everything will be fine. I'm thinking I'm worrying for nothing. I'm thinking I'll get the place sold, and maybe even before the deadline, which is here in 6 days. And I bet I'll get the apartment and everything, and I bet all my dreaming about settling in and getting back to my life, I bet that will not have been wasted dreaming. I bet it'll actually be for good, and I'll be fine. That gave me a bit of calm, but then I had to remind myself, you're just dreaming to keep from worrying even more than you're already worrying. You know damn well you don't have a damn clue. I do remember telling coworkers the first time around that, yeah, I'm not going to be here on those days. I'll be doing my closing and finishing up my move, and I'm going to make a lot of money on that day. So the deal falling through, the buyer flaking completely out and forfeiting $5,000 in order to flake out, that experience, I just realized this night, but that experience knocked me down a few pegs. I guess they call it being humbled. I wish I didn't have to go through that, but at least it taught me something that I can apply moving forward. So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Anyways, tonight I am excited as shit because I have half a Jimmy John sub waiting on me back at the shit motel. And speaking of the shit motel, remember how I told you as far as what we're gonna do? And I said, screw it, I'm gonna park in a public parking spot and just sleep in my van for a couple nights. Luckily, my mind has shifted again. I want you to know that I have every intention and will record and film, if you call it, a bunch of van life adventures. But this is not how I wanted to go about it. So I got to thinking about everything, and I thought, you know, if they like the walkthrough and they've confirmed that they still plan to close on the day or before, that gives me 3 more days after the motel, or 2 more days, 2 full days after the motel that I will be unhoused. Technically, I could go back to my house because it's still my house for 2 more days after the motel runs out. But as you saw with your own eyes, I said goodbye to that house. We said goodbye to that house together. I literally stopped. I didn't film this, but I literally stopped halfway down the driveway, got out of the van, and touched the ground. I opened my hand wide and put my hand palm down and touched the dirt and the grass, and I wanted to feel that piece of property and be at peace with it. I don't think it has a spirit that was saying goodbye to me or anything like that, but it's a special place to me. Like I described before, it's like the house I grew up in. It'll always be the house I owned once. That was my first ever property purchase. What a crazy learning curve. It's been the most insane experience of my life that I kind of wish I avoided, but I'll get into that later on in life. That whole mentality. But you saw me say goodbye to that place. I really don't want to go back for 2 more days until the closing because I already said goodbye. I'm a once it's done type person. I held up my end of the deal. I moved out when I was told to be moved out by before the original closing date, and I said goodbye on the day that it was supposed to close on. You saw that with your own eyes. Simply because I'm not that type of person, I don't want to go back on that. I said goodbye, that's it. Sometimes I get a feeling, and that feeling tells me it's time to move on. This is it. This is the turning of a new page experience, and I don't want to go back. I don't want to be a wishy-washy person. Despite what it seems like, me changing my mind as far as weighing options goes all the time. Once I say I'm done with something for real, I want to stick to it because I don't want to move backwards in life. And I know it wouldn't hurt anything to go back and spend those last couple available days back at the house. But for me, my last couple days involved the previous closing date. So that's what I'm going off of. I'm a constant, whereas people around me are variables. Okay? And one of the reasons I overcalculate and I analyze potential options is because I want to do something of finality when I make a decision. And if you don't get that and you're smirking or about to leave an asinine comment, then you just simply don't get it. You don't get what I'm saying, and you don't have previous chapters of this story because you haven't been watching or paying attention so far. And that's totally fine. I'm not mad at that. I'm not shitting on anybody who would say anything or have any thought, whether it's supportive or negative, whatever. I respect everyone's free speech. I'll never put up filters in comments. I'll never boot anybody. The only thing I have ever done was hide comments from somebody who was not using the comments for the comments. They were using the comments to attempt to have private correspondence back and forth with me that had absolutely nothing to do with the video that the comment was left on. I figured it was going to be a waste of everyone's time. But anyways, everyone, say whatever you want. But if you don't know what I mean by I overcalculate to make sure the decision I end up finally making is final, then you just don't get what I mean, and I'm not really sure. I'm failing you to explain it better. Period. And, I'm not trying to sound angry tonight, but I'm just kind of like nervous about tomorrow. I want their walkthrough to go good. I want my shit. I just want to resume my life. When I started a daily video, it wasn't supposed to be held down. by this 20, 30 day Groundhog's Day lockdown experience. It really wasn't. Although, thankfully, half of the viewers tell me they find it utterly fucking fascinating. So, I don't feel as bad in that case. Anyways, dear friends, it's time to tuck in for the night. I'm going to go back to the motel. I'm going to hope and pray that there's a little bit of peace and quiet. There was banging and slamming in and out, clear past 2 in the morning last night from the same people that you're about to see later in a Lost episode. Had a giant fight and everything else. Ay, ay, ay. What a wreck. What an annoying wreck. And I just can't wait to be out. And that's one of the reasons why I'm thinking about getting new lodging, unique and new lodging for us, slightly unique compared to what we've done. As you've seen, we changed rooms every 3 days up until recently. We locked in on the shit motel for 11 days now. The whole thing will be 11 days this time around. And I'm looking forward to here in just, let's see, here in just 4 more days, that 11-day period will be over. I am looking forward to that. I don't want to leave early and waste my money, although sometimes I do. But as far as making the decision, what do you do with the last 3 days before I get my apartment? If I can get it. I'm either getting my apartment or moving back into my house. So when I say goodbye to that motel, there's going to be 3 days in between. I either get my apartment or get my house back. What do I do in those? Actually, it's it'll be 2 nights that I need to get lodging somewhere, or I could go back to my house early. If I'm going back to my house, it's because the closing did not happen. And I'm moving back in officially. That's kind of where I'm standing at this moment. Stay tuned, it could change. So I think I'm going to go ahead and jump on alternative lodging and make that my official last hurrah. Because after that, we're done. We're done vacationing locally at that point. As far as lodging goes, it's really a bad word choice because there's nothing vacation about this, unfortunately. We're done seeking local lodging, and we're either getting my house back, me and you, or we're getting a brand new, swanky, bougie-ass apartment up on the 3rd level, baby, which is what I really hope happens. Anyways, let's get back into that room for now and get on my late dinner and, see what tomorrow brings, I guess.
Have I told you yet how badly I can't wait to be done forever with this motel? Yeah, there's just odd things happening. And I'm not trying to be judgmental or anything about what I'm about to say. It's just weird, okay? So, next door, as you know, is the extremely loud, disrespectful people who fistfight each other and make sure that everybody is up because the guy literally goes outside and screams at the top of his lungs on a Sunday night. And, yeah, that's next door. The door beside that, there was staying a gentleman who drives a particular car. And I know that because I saw that gentleman standing in his doorway in that particular room smoking. And I also saw him getting in and out of that particular car. And that particular car today was, he was in his car with the window down, smoking, with the engine running for whatever reason, even though the temperature was perfect, by the way, for me anyhow. And he was watching the room service completely gut his room and clean it and everything. They had the door open, the curtains open. And I thought maybe he requested room service, or he stepped out and was waiting for his room to be cleaned. And I thought it was weird how he was just watching them clean his room. Since he wasn't going anywhere, I thought maybe he was going to return into his room when they were finished or whatever the case. But at that particular time, didn't have anywhere to go. Okay. So, I'm not judging. I'm just observing what I saw because I thought it would be interesting to record a memory of for the future. So, tonight, however, he is parked next door with his engine running, with the headlights off, and he's just, either he parked the car and left it idling for whatever reason by itself, or he is in the car with no room to go to, and the room he was in, there's now a whole other vehicle parked directly in front of it. So I'm guessing, I'm not a detective, but what I'm guessing is he ran out of money, and he has nowhere else to go. So instead of enjoying a room tonight, he is hanging out at the parking lot next door, which I don't know why you would do that, because the parking lot next door is a completely abandoned restaurant. The last time they had anything going on in that restaurant was 3 months ago at Christmas time, because there's still Christmas decorations up in the windows. But the restaurant is completely closed. There has not been a single scintilla of an ounce of activity over there in days and days that I've ever witnessed. I'm pretty sure the business is closed. I've never seen anyone in the parking lot at whatsoever. That's where he's parked right now. There are public parking lots in this town that you can go to, and no one can tell you otherwise. You can park there 24/7. There's no restrictions on overnight parking or anything like that. You can even park there with your engine idling. And I'm guessing the engine's idling because it's cold out. I would much rather pay for a nice overhaul winter camping outfit and just wear layers and layers and layers and then sit back in the car and go to sleep. I've slept in my car for a month. 4 days on, took off for the weekend, had an actual bed and everything, staying with a friend, and then would 4 days on, sleeping in my car. Did that for a solid month, slept in the parking lot at work. Long story, remind me to tell you later. So I get it. I get spending the night in the car. Been there, done that. And, knees up on the seat, pissing in a bottle, and then trying to get back to sleep, waking up with real stiff legs, waking up shivering because it's cold. Been there, done that. But if you're going to stay here, you may not want to stay in this parking lot because you're supposed to write down your make and model when you register to get a room. So maybe he's worried that they'll catch him, but he's in the parking lot next door. If a cop rolls by and sees a random car where no car is supposed to be, you will get the knock. But if you go to a public parking lot in this town, they can't give you the knock. It's 1,000,000% legal to park there, engine running or not, as long as you're not causing any form of nuisance. So I'm not judging. I'm just saying I worry. So I'm like, please don't let this be anything of sketchness. Next door is sketch as fuck. Hopefully not as much as I'm worried about it being. Hopefully the temperature's cooled, and hopefully whoever's supposed to be there are normal people. Hopefully that was a fluke, and I'm full of hopefullys because I'm stuck in this environment just trying to get through it. That's it. So I have to obsess on hopefullys just to be able to fall asleep at night. I was telling somebody the other day, I wonder if I'll have like PTSD in a weird way that like I try to hide from this experience, because so much is going on right now that just bogs me down on the inside. My spirit is just screwed up because of this current situation. Hopefully, come the closing date of my house, all of that lifts and I'm able to pick up where I left off, and I'm in an exciting new home. And to me, it's a great thrill to set up and homestead, so to speak, in a new place that you're happy that you acquired. experienced that a few times. It's one of the funnest things you can do is get a fresh start somewhere and go from there and figure out, what you want to put here, how you want to go about this, kind of get to know your neighbors and whatnot. So I'm so ready. But also, like I said, I have to weigh other options as well, just in case I need to rely on those options. The good news is I have not screwed myself out of a home. If this doesn't work, then I am good to go back to my house and live in it and work on getting an apartment from there while I live in it. Because this time around, if I need to get an apartment from that point on, this time around, I always have a place to go to. There's no showings. There's no random times people are coming and going. I don't have to have all my property out of there. Whole different ball game. This time around, it'll be my house in every way, shape, or form. Right now, it's a walkthrough showing at any time house, but legally mine. If I have to go back into my house and move back in, then I'll do so. And then I'll still look for the apartment I want, one that I want to have, probably at the same place if I can pull that off, and we'll go from there. Bada bing, bada and boom, eh? I don't know. I don't know what else to say at this moment. Other than, Jesus, take the wheel. So that's that. That'll be great if I can get my keys like I want and everything like normal. But if I have to go back into my house, I'll make that great too in some way. I'll figure out how to make it great. But at least I have, at this moment, guaranteed a roof over my head. It may not be the roof I want. There's a 50-50 chance. Maybe there's not. Maybe there's like a 95 to 5% chance. Maybe there's a 5% chance of it fucking up and a 95% chance of everything being fine, and I need to quit worrying like a little bitch who is drama dumping into your ear holes right now. But in reality, there's no way to know what percent it could actually go from one way to the other. Like I said, they haven't even fucking seen the property. So if I have to move back into my house, I am very happy to know that when I secure my next housing, that'll happen before anything is up in the air with my house. Basically, I'll go about it in an entirely different way. And if I have to, then I will do that, and I'll be excited that it's an entirely new and different way that I don't have to stress out. The way I did it this time is because I was offered a deal. Sell this, contingent only on the acquiring of this. I could not acquire this because of some false information, so I shifted my plan, but in that moment I put too much on my plate that put my housing at risk, and I wasn't sure if I would even have a damn place to live for a minute. Then, once we got this new buyer, I went back and forth with what we're going to do in terms of when we close, and I had to set a hard line. That was pretty much this episode. When I set a hard line, you're not going to fuck me out of a house. And it's not overkill because you don't know who my realtor is and how he just kind of does whatever he wants, whether or not I go along with it. I had to set a hard line in the sand and say, I'm securing my housing because I'm dead set on this date one way or the other. Makes sense? Thank you so much for hearing me out on that topic. I want to know what you're going through in the real estate game. Please. Today at work I was fantasizing about how nice it'll be to analyze the dust after it settles. So I want to get into my apartment. I want to set up a temporary workstation for now until I buy like a desk that I want to use later or whatever the hell. And I just want to like go through all the documents and read them a lot closer and learn even more about what I've experienced. And one of the first things I think I'll do once I get keys is I will buy, I'll probably buy a new computer because, I want to get better at video editing. I want to do multiple renderings at once and stuff like that. And I want to just get like a better, faster computer. And I want to go ahead and buy like a really big external hard drive. I saw one on Amazon for that was like 16 terabytes. I think it'll take me a while to fill that up. So yeah, I'll probably do that. But most of all, before I even buy like that extra terabyte or whatever, I really want to get a new printer that goes specifically with the new computer. Obviously, you probably have to buy them separate and then link them up through their relationship, speaking to each other on Bluetooth or the App Store or whatever the hell. It ain't like the good old days. You can just put in the program into your computer on a disk, and then it installs that machine's run device or whatever. And I just want to get additional emails that have kind of fell back that I haven't fully read yet. I want to get them all printed out. I want to look at them. I want to learn more about what the hell I just went through as far as the closing, the house, even my lease, like even my apartment lease. I want to read in closer detail, because on the day I go to get my keys, they're going to print me off a few pages of the full lease. And it'll be nice to sit down and actually just read that in detail. And I actually want to go back and read for the first time my old apartment lease that you watched me get evicted from like a month ago. So, does that make sense? Anyways, I think it's safe to say I'm looking forward to hopefully getting my fucking apartment.
The time has come. The time has come once again to part ways just for today. Unfortunately, it is now time to piss on this fire, pack up this camp, and head back to the shitty motel room. I want to thank you very much for spending precious time with me today. I know your time is non-renewable and valuable, so thank you for wasting it on me today. And speaking of how that time was used, I just want to apologize again if this material is repetitive at the moment, but trust me, I'm doing the best I can. One thing I can guarantee you with absolute certainty is that in 6 days, the content and the narrative and the style of what you're watching will change in 6 days. Give it this direction or this direction. I really hope it goes my preferred direction. I bet you know what that, I bet you know what I hope happens. I'm guessing you've heard me say it a couple times. But anyways, if you want to help me out, please share this video or some other video of mine with all of your dumb buddies, because a growing audience helps me out very much, more than you may think. Okay, if you want to contact me directly, then you should do that. You really should. You should email me. Okay, I have an emailer thing. Just email dougalonation@gmail.com. That's in the description of this video too. BTW. That means by the way. Okay, but yes, you heard me correctly. For now, unfortunately, it is time to say goodbye for today. Don't worry, I will be back with you again tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. like always, 7 days a week. But until then, don't be a douchebag, ham sandwich, pickle fucker.